You've met someone for just a few seconds, and somehow your brain already decided who they are. But here's the unsettling part. Even when you learn you were wrong, your brain often refuses to update the story. Today, we're diving into why first impressions stick like glue inside your mind. Your brain doesn't just observe reality, it edits it. The brain's speed over accuracy rule. Your brain is a prediction machine. Every second, it's flooded with more information than you could ever consciously process, so it uses shortcuts. The moment you see a face, hear a voice, or notice body language, your brain makes rapid-fire judgments about trust, competence, and safety. This happens in milliseconds before you even realize it. Why so fast? Because from an evolutionary perspective, hesitation could be dangerous. Early humans didn't have time to analyze strangers carefully. Quick judgments meant survival. Your brain still operates by that ancient rule: decide first, verify later. And here's where things get interesting. Once the brain forms an initial judgment, it treats it like a working theory about reality, and it starts protecting that theory. Imagine your brain as a detective, but one that already believes it's solved the case. When you meet someone and form a first impression, your brain immediately starts filtering new information to support that impression. If you think someone is confident, you notice their strong posture. If you think they're awkward, you notice every hesitation in their speech. Same person, same behavior, different interpretation. This is called confirmation bias, and it's incredibly powerful. Here's the surprising part. Your brain remembers information that supports your first impression more strongly than information that contradicts it. So even when reality changes, your mental image often doesn't. Why feelings lock impressions in place? First impressions aren't just thoughts, they're emotional experiences. The brain attaches emotional tags to new people instantly. If the interaction feels good, the brain stores a safe label. If it feels uncomfortable, it stores a warning. And emotional memories are sticky. They're processed by older, faster brain systems than logical reasoning. That means later facts must fight against an emotional memory that already feels true. This is why someone can apologize, improve, or completely change their behavior and still struggle to change how others see them. Your brain isn't asking, "What's true now?" It's asking, "What did I feel first?" The halo effect. One trait becomes the whole story. Here's one of the most counterintuitive facts about first impressions. Your brain often decides multiple personality traits from a single observation. If someone seems attractive, we assume they're smarter. If someone appears confident, we assume they're competent. If someone seems nervous, we assume they're unreliable. This is called the halo effect. One signal becomes the blueprint for the entire person in your mind. And once that blueprint exists, changing it requires massive contradictory evidence, far more than it took to create it. Think about that. A few seconds to form an impression, but sometimes years to undo it. And the most surprising part is coming next, because your brain doesn't just resist changing first impressions, it actively defends them. Cognitive consistency. Your brain hates being wrong. The brain craves consistency. Admitting a first impression was wrong creates internal conflict, and the brain tries to avoid that discomfort. So instead of updating the impression, it quietly reinterprets new information. If someone you judged negatively does something kind, your brain might label it an exception. If someone you admired makes a mistake, your brain minimizes it. Reality gets adjusted to protect the original judgment, not because you're irrational, but because your brain prioritizes stability over accuracy. Can first impressions ever change? Yes, but the process is slow and demanding. To change a first impression, 3 things usually must happen: repeated contradictory experiences, strong emotional impact, and time for the brain to rebuild its prediction model. In other words, the brain doesn't revise impressions easily because it treats them as survival tools. They're not just opinions, they're predictions about the world. First impressions feel like intuition, but they're really fast predictions shaped by emotion, memory, and ancient survival mechanisms. Your brain isn't trying to judge people fairly, it's trying to judge them quickly. And once a story is written, the mind becomes its editor, not its critic. So the next time you meet someone and feel certain about who they are, pause. You might not be seeing them, you might be seeing your brain's first draft. If you want to understand how your mind really works, subscribe for more neuroscience explained clearly. And tell me in the comments, have you ever changed your first impression about someone? Because the most powerful thing your brain can do is update its own story.